I start out with my work in my life, which from artwork of my own, what I can do when I was young age. But from there, I need to shift my own world of making art, which is from video to television, from television to start for the movie business. Because with the work that I've been doing when I was young was too dusty for me, so I might as well shift the whole thing from dust to undust. Actually, I never really perform. I actually start from knowing the stories from my grandmother's background, which I really like from that side of my whole life, with hearing the stories of all that. It's blurry at the beginning, but when you hear story from one, twice, and to know them all, so I think that's the purpose that I end up saying to myself, okay, if I'm going to television or film, I'm going to have to start acting. But with the part that I've been involved with the storytelling of my grandmother, well, I think that's the key of that I want to start acting. It's one of the strongest and longest story that I ever bumped into. Kivyo has no starting, have no ending, and that's the part that I wanted to get involved beside film, because the theater is that you can't really make mistake, but you got to trigger a good trick somebody, and then if you made a mistake on your lines, you got to shift the right puzzle to start without knowing that it's a mistake, either on acting part, physical part, or verbally. We all do have a little bit of mistake on each role of each character, but I can't really force anybody else's character, which is very good for me to play with my own way of doing, but it works between the story director and all that, and the producer with the manager of the stage. Everything has to puzzle in without, okay, I'll do it my way, but we have to agree as each other to shift from each character to get the story done from the start to the end of the story, of the performance. We gotta help each other. If one person is kind of blurry with we gotta help them. If I'm kind of stumbling with my lines, they gotta help me too in order to get the lines done the way the director wants, or the way we want to hear it, or the way the rhythm of the speed of the performance is the major key to play with live theater. Kivyo has many categories of each different culture. Starts from west to east of culture, Inuit way of telling the story. There's tons of Kivyo stories in our background as Inuit we are, but we got this part Kivyo returns, because it has been sitting there for quite a bit of time, so we took it back, and then we gathered all the elders to get that story back again to the performance today, which is very good for me to get involved, because I'm not going to really be involved with films or video all the time. I might as well do and experience the live performance, because it makes me feel more comfortable of doing it realistically, because you got to be in the center of the core to get the whole story from the start to the end. And I love Kivyo Returns because it has tons of all levels of each culture part has their own way of telling the story. But in our background of Nunavut, because we gathered all the elders and we came up to the main part that what it works for 2 days to perform live theater. It has been passed on from in our background for thousands of years. They've been carrying that Kivyo for, each culture part of Greenland, they have Kiviok story. In the center of Nunavut, we have our way of telling the Kiviok story. In western part, they have their own way of telling the Kiviok story. But overall, they're all similar to each other. We all have a little bit of link to each other, but different story, It's just like from one end, you tell somebody, let's say, a blurry of the blue weather out there, then it could be read at the end. It comes out back with hundreds of people. It just seems with the story that I see Kiviok. And my grandmother used to tell Kiviok about it, but it's more like an adult story. But the little part of it is child. When you're a child, you got to start child story, youth story, then you end up hearing the adult story, which is level of each. There's stages to get to know the Kiviok story. Well, there's a big difference between performing to, as Inuit, we're more uncomfortable sometimes because they know our dialect and they know our lines, that what we have to say. If we make mistake, they know we're making mistake. But if you're performing to, French or whatever English, I'm more comfortable, even though if I make a little mistake, they won't notice that, but the play has to roll. I love the play and the pace of all that, but if I were directing it, I think I would want it to change some few characters in there in realistic story. But the part that we made is it has to be a boy, it becomes a girl. Character becomes a girl. But if it has to be a girl, then the boy can able to play that. Those two little things that I would really adjust to make that Kiviok story in a Pacific story that I would make. But, we'll start something up.
The next round of performances.
I think if I want to go to a higher level of real life performance in my background, I think that the part that I would really wanted to see people acting the real character of each category. It makes me feel more comfortable of seeing our story to get it out to the whole world. Pretty sure there's quite a few good categories that have opened, but I hate to be overlapping everything. I love to do one project at a time, which is good for me, but sometimes a very good project comes up and I have to turn them down once in a while. But this Kiviok with Kagewood, I love what they're doing, and I have to expand that to Nunavut nowadays. And I'm pretty sure there's gonna create more projects in our future, especially for the younger generation that really want to start doing theater and television, film-wise. It's not easy. You gotta have good experience to start up, and that's what I wanted to do to get involved with live performance, because I've never done it real live, because it's got to be one take. There's no two take in it, and that's the purpose that I wanted to experience that. Yeah. And a lot of people, I gotta know the live theater trick to get the story done in one take. Well, I had a good experience with that Fast Runner, and I've had worked with Isima Production back then, but now I'm more likely getting another route to go through. I help them and they help me, and it's kind of level, so I might as well go another route that I believe in. I think the best thing is for us to, as individually, Nunavut Mute is a very small people that compared to southern people, you have millions of people here, and in Nunavut we have only thousands, but we're one of the people that creating a lot of things that storytelling, whatever is expanding, but we need a good space for performance, which is Nunavut doesn't have a space, which is kind of unfair for us to see as a Canadian, because we need help up there, because it's growing in Iqaluit and it's got to expand, and we got to expand it just not just in Nunavut, all through. If we have to travel to Canada, we'll do that. If we have to travel outside world, I think that's one of the key that we want to expand our little stories of everything, whether it's long or short.
Yeah. Because you're heading to Halloween next for the performance,
Yeah.
right? And where will you be performing it? There.
I had performed with them, but on the family wise, I had to get off because it didn't. Because if you're mixed up with your own personal relationship, losing your grandparents or your sister, it's kind of hard for me to focus on. So I got off for a year, but I got back to it, and I'm more likely fit again. So
Yeah.
you gotta keep the audience happy. Audience happy to get everything, whether if they love it or not. We have to answer them all.
Okay.
Well, it's been so useful that Inuk Art Quarterly has been getting some few good stories up from our background, which is good, and I love what you guys are doing. And I think the fairest thing is to share the whole everything, what we can able to do to assist you, Inuk Art Quarterly, and then you've already, in my background, Inuit Art Quarterly has assisted me with all the artwork that I've been involved in. I think that's the best thing that we can able to share each other to create more activities. I think there's more stories coming in my on my side. I'm more likely trying to get the idea to write some few things of what I wanted to do. So it's under the table for now, but in our future, I'm pretty sure I'm going to take it out to the whole world.